question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska?
Hey, Nebraska, do you need a tissue for your issues? Hey, Nebraska, save the drama for your mama. What happened, Nebraska? Did voting for Trump ruin your economy? Oh, that's weird.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska? Does anyone even care?
Nah. Next question. I don't know if y'all have been keeping up with Nebraska farmer talk, but they are getting exactly what they voted for. Nebraskan farmers overwhelmingly supported and voted for Donald Trump. The same Donald Trump who ran a campaign with one of the biggest promises being the deportation of illegal immigrants. Mind you, most of the people who work on their farms are illegal immigrants. So now, months after the open book test, they're finally starting to study, and they're realizing that if Trump implements his mass deportation plan, they are going to lose a majority of their workers. And if they lose a majority of their workers and their fields become as empty as a J-Lo concert, they will go bankrupt. Well, so now they're
sitting there getting my fat bitch on in Nebraska. Oh my, getting a lot of attention. The Nebraska talk and social media, world news. Even our governor has been screaming and crying, clutching your pearls, saying, oh, we're going to go bankrupt in 2 quarters. Well, duh! What did you think was going to happen? Nebraska is mostly red. The last time we voted for a Democratic president was Lyndon Johnson. It's been that long. We talked about Project 2025 to you. We talked about voting against your own interests. And the we I'm talking about is in your own state. The blue dot people. Yeah, the ones that irritated you so much. The libs you wanted to own during the election. The ones that you said, oh no, Project 2025, that's its myth. He doesn't endorse that at all. And now you're seeing it implemented step by step by step by step. Nebraska doesn't have a large population. We're a little over 2 million. And 60 to 65% of the workforce in the ranching and meatpacking industry is undocumented. He promised he was going to deport them. He promised again and again and again and again, and now it's happening. Who did you think was going to do the jobs? Leprechauns? And I'm talking to you as a native Nebraskan. I was born and raised here. I was educated here. Thank God I left this state at the age of 18 and broke out of that 1950s Republican bubble that so many of you desperately cling to. For all the rest of you Trumpanzees and Magas that think this doesn't affect you, have you seen the price of beef lately in the grocery store? It's going to make the price of eggs look cheap, and pork is probably next. You made this mess. You fix it. You fucked around. And now everyone's going to find out. Well done.
I never thought the leopards would eat my face.
Hey my people, Gracie here once again. Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you guys are doing alright from wherever you are watching this from, and hopefully God has protected you and preserved you very well, and hopefully He is providing, because the situation seems like it's really getting tough, guys. I do appreciate all of you that keep supporting on here, and my members, thank you so very much as well, guys. Nebraska voted what they wanted to be done to others. And you know what? God doesn't like dirty. He made sure He shakes it all together. The same equal measure they voted for is being poured on them. And guess what? They are not liking it. They're like, is anybody out there caring about Nebraska going bankrupt? And people are like, what? Did you care about anybody else when you're voting for? Do you see how hate costs a lot? And it literally, yeah, guys, we are going to look at all these videos from Nebraska and how people are literally spitting fire back to those that were asking if anybody cares. Let's watch this, come back and talk about it.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska? Does anyone even care?
nah. Next question. I don't know if y'all have been keeping up with Nebraska farmer talk, but they are getting exactly what they voted for. Nebraskan farmers overwhelmingly supported and voted for Donald Trump. The same Donald Trump who ran a campaign with one of the biggest promises being the deportation of illegal immigrants. Mind you, most of the people who work on their farms are illegal immigrants. So now, months after the open book test, they're finally starting to study, and they're realizing that if Trump implements his mass deportation plan, they are going to lose a majority of their workers. And if they lose a majority of their workers and their fields become as empty as a J-Lo concert, they will go bankrupt. Well, so now they're on here crying and complaining about how they're going to lose their farms, and nobody seems to care. I'm going to hold your hand with a napkin in between when I say this. We don't care because you showed that you don't care first. You are getting exactly what you voted for. Trump was very loud about his plans for mass deportation, but because your brain is as smooth as satin and your last two brain cells are fighting for 10th fucking place, you weren't able to put two and two together. So now they're on here crying and complaining to us, asking us why we don't care that they're about to have concept of a farm. Stink-a-butt, what do you want us to do? Have you considered pulling yourself up by your bootstraps? Maybe round up your couslings, your sister wives, your husbands. Y'all work in the farms. Like, unfortunately, there's been a tariff placed on thoughts and prayers, so I don't have those for you, but I did write a song for you. Old Nebraskans had a farm, ADIOS. Hope this Peace and love.
Hey, Nebraska, do you need a tissue for your issues? Hey, Nebraska, save the drama for your mama. What happened, Nebraska? Did voting for Trump ruin your economy? Oh, that's weird. That's so weird. It's kind of like we told you so, right? Oh, I love this. I like to stick it in your face and rub it in. It's kind of like, when Trump was telling everybody he was going to come after the undocumented people in this country that were working hard and deport them, that they would kind of move to a state they felt safe in. And apparently, Nebraska wasn't one of them. They packed up their stuff and they headed on out to a state that would welcome them with open arms. So now you're going bankrupt. And as somebody that lives in a blue state, I could give a shit less. Boo-hoo. Oh, and I can't wait for the hated comments. I can't wait for it. You voted for this. You voted for this. And now you're getting it. So why are you mad at us? We didn't vote for this. Nope. We voted completely against this. You voted for this. I better not get one BS comment. Not one. Not one. Oh, how mean you are. The stink. You're so mean. Shut up. Shut up. I'm not mean. I'm just giving you what you wanted. You wanted this. You voted for it. You made your bed. Now lay in it. Have a day.
Hey, Nebraska. I hear that you get to be Trump's next bankruptcy. Good for you. Way to go. See, your racism and your transphobia and your hatred of women was just bigger than your sense of self-preservation. Yes, it was. And now you're going to lose your granddaddy's farm. See, just like during the pandemic, when there were all of these subsidies and bailouts for farmers, but they went to the mega corporate farms instead of folks like you, you didn't learn your lesson. So now all those tax breaks and handouts and subsidies are going to go to the folks that are waiting in the wings to swoop up your little piece of legacy so they can turn it into just another plot of land on a spreadsheet. So as you're packing up your Mima's mementos, emptying out that room where you raised your babies, loading up that dinner table where hundreds of family gatherings made magic, it's going to be hard. But just know that we're so happy for you that you got what you voted for. We absolutely love this for you. Peace out.
I'm on the who's gonna care about Nebraska side of TikTok, or does anybody care about Nebraska? And I'm watching white people respond to that white woman like, Nebraska didn't care about Nebraska. Who did you think was going to be in those positions of the immigrants you're losing, blah blah? And they're missing the point. Nebraskans thought that niggas was gonna go back. Like they thought they had the early 1800s back. That's what you're not seeing. It's not like they didn't think about that. No, they knew, okay, we'll lose our immigrants, but we're going to get our slaves back. And that, my good friends, is the problem.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska? Does anyone even care?
Do you care about Nebraska? Because I have a feeling you voted for this. I mean, Nebraskans don't even care about Nebraska. Let me ask you another question. Who exactly did you think were going to work in the fields and in the farms after all of the regular day laborers, people of color, are no longer there anymore? Who did you think was going to do it? Did you think that there was just this army of white workers ready to get into those farms and pick all the vegetables? Now people like you who voted for this to happen are upset that something's affecting you, because what people like you tend to really vote for, it's not the economy. It's because you want to express racism and bigotry, and he was the only way that you could do that. But now it's affecting you. All those farms are disappearing, including that 300-year-old farm. And you want to know why nobody's upset at that? It's because you guys did it to yourself. You'd rather vote to have your racism easily spread across the United States instead of thinking about yourself, because you always vote against your own interests, don't you? And isn't it just like you? You voted to hurt other people, but now when it's starting to hurt you, you want us to feel sympathetic for you. Get the fuck out of here.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska? Does anyone even care?
What do you want? What the fuck do you want? Hypothetically, if we did care, what would that look like to you? Because based on the way you guys vote, you're getting exactly what you wanted. You quite literally are getting the exact thing that you voted for. The decision that these farmers made are leading them straight to the loss of farms they've had in their families for generations, because they hate those illegals so much, Wait, did you want them to go to work so that you could watch them be rounded up for your own perverse pleasures? You want them absent from work on your terms so you can have a little show? Otherwise, I don't know what the hell you're mad at. And I know you aren't asking for a handout. I know us caring about Nebraska isn't welfare. To save people from decisions they made themselves? Isn't that at the root of why you said... And girl, you do not have to tell me who you voted for, okay? And I'm almost certain you would still say I'd vote for him again. God helps those who help themselves. Okay.
So racism has always been expensive. It's always been expensive. It's just, they always thought that they would have the fee. They always thought they would have the fee, and hell, for a good minute they did. They had the fee to give. See, the problem is now, they don't have the fee. They don't have the fee, so it's becoming a problem. And rather than stop trying to pay the fucking fee, y'all will literally kill yourselves and kill the reputation of this country, of this nation, trying to pay a fee that y'all should have been stopped paying. Okay? Y'all should have been stopped paying. When colleges went from being tuition free to tuition based in the 1960s, that was all because y'all couldn't stop us from getting educated anymore. So you wanted to put a roadblock in there. You wanted to make it harder for us. We didn't have the capital like you guys did. So you added tuition. The reason why America doesn't have universal health care is because that means everybody would have access to it, that including people like me and you. And they don't want that. They thought that they would always have surgery money. They thought that they was always going to have outpatient care money. You understand? Private doctor money. Hell, I'm not going to an office. I can always have them come to me. That's what they thought they was always going to have. And as they started to see that they were losing leverage, rather than stop paying the fee for racism, they said, bitch, here, take my arm, take my leg, take my organs. To the point where you guys are where you are today. Still trying to pay a fee. Going out of your way to pay a fee. That literally is killing you. It's killing you. And then now that you're starting to realize that y'all really did fuck around a little bit too much, you want my pretty black ass to get up out of my seat to come and fight for you? Oh, you're fucking stupid. Oh, you're beyond stupid. You're beyond, my pretty self. You see me? Y'all see my brothers and sisters? They fine too. We supposed to get up out of our seats? Up out of our beds? And I heard a white woman literally said, black people, stay where you are. I would never take no advice from white people unless it was on how to be selfish, because that's the only thing that I think that they can give. However, this white lady said, do not get up out of your seats. You want to know why? They want us to get out and be in the streets so that now they can plot to kill us. Us doing exactly what we're doing. Like, this is why they so hot. This is why they 50 degrees. Like, they hot because they wanted us to come out there so that we could be fucking sitting ducks. Especially considering they done seen how fucking expensive racism is now. But it's always been like that. Y'all just didn't care because y'all had the fee.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska?
The thing about it is, we said we was resting. But Nebraska thought, since they sunk the day laborers away, the ones who worked for a little bit, they thought they was going to get slaves again. Let's be honest. They thought they was getting slaves. That's not what we're doing. And once again, we're resting.
So this morning I ended up on Nebraska Talk, and it was a bunch of people crying, why does anybody care about Nebraska? When we voted for Kamala Harris, when I cast my vote for Harris, that was me saying, I care about you, and I want you to survive and thrive. Okay, you knew better than anybody else that your state thrives and survives off of migrants' backs. Okay? And instead of them waiting for ICE to come, they decided to peace out before they could come and get them. I don't know what to tell you guys anymore. This is what you voted for. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, this is exactly what you voted for. And now you're feeling it. What do you want us to do? You want a government handout? That's socialism. You voted against that. No. Sadly, the reality is that you'll probably have to sell a lot of your farms for pennies on the dollar to large corporations and manufacturers. But don't worry, they'll probably let you work there for minimum wage.
Does anybody care about Nebraska? That's the question that's going around TikTok right now, and to that, I respond with two questions. Did Nebraska care about anybody else? And does Nebraska care about Nebraska? Because, you see, God helps those who help themselves. And when you Nebraskans walked into the voting booth and overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump to be president, and now you're feeling the effects of that, this isn't I told you so. This is an FAFO. And I know there are Nebraskans out there that voted for Kamala Harris and did not fall into the trap of Donald Trump. Unfortunately, there were not enough of you. And now the rumors, and I'm having a hard time substantiating some of this, but the vibe that's going around is that Nebraska basically looks to be bankrupt in about 6 months because of the undocumented migrants that are being deported, or just the fact that undocumented migrants make up a large portion of their state and workforce on the farms. And they're not showing up to work because they're now afraid they're going to be deported. So Nebraskans, especially farmers in Nebraska, did you think any further than the front of your face? Did you think any further? Or were you just blinded by hate? And now people are coming out here asking, what about Nebraska? Do you guys care about Nebraska? No, I've already answered it, but the short answer is no. No, we don't. We don't care about Indiana, where I'm from. We don't care about Kentucky losing their bourbon up in Canada. We don't care about Jack Daniels in Tennessee. We don't care about the auto industry in Michigan. Are we all going to feel this? Yes, it's going to hurt. The disruptions in the food supply from Nebraskan farmers is going to hurt everybody. We are not immune, but we can't care. We can't care. We have no more sympathy to give. You guys had a chance. We spent our time telling you, talking to you, talking at you because you wouldn't listen. You decided to vote for Donald Trump, and here he is undoing your entire workforce. And when you lose your family farm of 150 years to a private company who's going to buy up all the land when you guys can't pay your bills, that's the state of America we're going to be in because you decided to vote for hate over the rest of the country and your own good. You cut off your nose to spite your face. So Nebraska, We don't care. God helps those who help themselves, and you decided you didn't want help.
Well, in today's episode of F Around and Find Out MAGA edition, cattle ranchers in the state of Nebraska who voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump fear the impact on their businesses when Donald Trump implements his mass deportation program that he campaigned on for almost 2 years, that they voted for. And now they're realizing that if he actually implements it, they'll go bankrupt. He told you for almost 2 years that he was going to deport 20 million Hispanic, Latino, undocumented immigrants living and working in the United States. You voted for that. And as cattle ranchers in the state of Nebraska, your business and your profitability depends and relies on undocumented immigrant workers who are now going to be deported by the guy that you voted for who said he was going to do that. How dumb are you people?
All these damn illegal aliens taking over American jobs, it ain't right because they're all criminals, you know. That's why we need a strong leader that'll put Americans first. That's why I voted for him, because he said he's going to deport all them illegal aliens, okay? Because I'm a proud American farmer. I don't need no illegal immigrants taking over my jobs. Ain't that right, Jose? Jose? Juan? Pedro? Where did y'all go? Hey, where did they go? They left. Why did they leave? They got work to do.
Because they were illegal, and you voted for the guy that wants to deport them. Not really the most stable working environment.
What? But I need their cheap labor to make my thin profit margins to make sense financially.
Well, you should have thought about that, because now you're going to have to hire Americans, and they're going to unionize and ask for higher wages and eat into those profit margins.
Are you saying that I have to face the consequences of my own actions? Because we can't afford this. We're all going to be bankrupt in 2 quarters.
Funny how life works that way.
So for all the farmers that live in Nebraska, you voted for Trump knowing that 70% of your workforce on your farms are migrants. Now, apparently, Nebraska is 6 months away from bankruptcy. Still voted for the mass deportation of 70% of your workforce on your farms, and now are complaining that your farms and your livelihood will not survive it.
So I'm seeing a lot of people being confused about how, Nebraskans and people in agricultural communities can be voting against their own interests. And I have a lot of experience with these people. I'm related to them. And obviously when I talk about them, I don't mean all farmers and I don't mean all the people in these states. But in my experience, the farmers have been living a fairy tale for many generations. They have been told by the government and by our own society, that they're extremely valuable, which they are, but that they are self-made men and that they exist in a vacuum and that we would be lost without them. And most weird, that they don't receive any kind of assistance, that they're self-made, which is a fairy tale. They receive a lot of assistance, but this is the story they've been telling themselves. This is a story that the government has been telling them, and this is the story that they've passed on to their children and their children's children, because they want to glamorize, they want to make what they're doing idyllic. They don't want their kids to leave the farm. They don't want their kids to go to the big city. They want them to stay and they want them to keep the farm. So their kids and their kids and their kids have all been raised with this idea that as farmers, they are heroic. They are, the backbone of America, even though at this point, the backbone of America, if it's farmers, then it's completely made out of like fabricated steel and been replaced by a neurosurgeon like 30 times. They don't see that. So they don't understand. When you live in a fairy tale your whole life, and when you've been raised in a fairy tale, and when your father was raised in a fairy tale, you don't use critical thinking skills. You don't analyze what you're doing. You just keep going with the fairy tale. And you don't choose a political candidate that forces you to think. You choose the political candidate that encourages you to stay in the fairy tale. So that's how they keep voting for the bad people. That's how they keep voting against their own interests, because they're in a fairy tale. They're so enmeshed in it that they don't want somebody waking them up. They want somebody who's going to keep them asleep. And unfortunately, they're going to have to wake up sometime.
What do I have to say of all of this? I want you guys to let me know what you think in the comment section. This should be a lesson to all racists, to all bigots, that a person that is hateful dies miserable. They suffer alone because nobody else cares, because they showed it in public that they didn't care about anybody else. But at this point, they want everybody else to come out and bundle up all together and fight for them. Now I know that yes, everybody is going to be affected with this bankruptcy, because yes, they probably have been supplying food to the other sides of the US. But if you only cared about your pockets and only cared about keeping slaves, you didn't even look at the fact that the man is saying, you know what, I'm going to deport all your workers. Didn't look at that. They probably thought, Project 2025, this is the time for you to be fulfilled. In our sights, we need to see all these black people going down. Well, I don't know how to laugh like one of the ladies that I like so much to bring in my stitches over and over because she makes my day. But I would have given that hilarious laughter. Yeah, that's how all bigots and racists and hateful people end. Miserable. And at this point, your empire that you have built and you've been holding on to for decades is going down. Who cared for you? Not even the man that you voted for. How ridiculous. Not even the person that they voted for cared. He is doing this to them. And I think also this goes to show you how governments exploit people, especially that literally are the backbone of the country. Here in my country, farmers are one of the people that really don't even get cared for at all, right? But when it comes to voting, they're the ones that keep voting bad governments. Nobody's saying that these guys are not hardworking. These people are very, very much hardworking. But when it comes to here, critical thinking, they don't. And that's exactly how Trump exploited, because he knows they are not smart here. All they care for is their farms. And whatever he promised to them, yeah, whatever they voted to happen to others is happening to them. I always say, I have a saying over here, that lwoyagaliza mukakitawo lutanyoko. Almost in every video, I said this saying. So that at least you guys learn some Luganda. Lwoyagaliza mukakitawo lutanyoko. What you wished for your stepmother finally comes for your own biological mother. That teaches you not to wish others bad and not to be selfish. These people were selfish. They voted for racism and they were willing to see everybody else burn while they were watching. Unfortunately, they are going to burn and everybody is going to be watching their demise. What do you my people learn out of this whole situation? Put your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will definitely see you in another amazing video. Until then, my name is Gracie and I love you all. Don't forget, FAFO is still just unfolding. I'm coming up with more.